Masters, mayhem, and a whole lot of fitness. We've got the biggest stats from the 2022 Legends Championship coming up on Inside the Leaderboard. What's up everyone, Tommy Marquez here with a Masters edition of Inside the Leaderboard presented by Guaranteed Rate, the official mortgage company of the CrossFit Games. And it's been a while since we last spoke, and I hope everyone is having a wonderful holiday season so far. But this past weekend, a collection of Masters athletes, 42 to be exact, got themselves an early present in the form of a shiny new medal. I was there in Cookeville for the Legends competition this past weekend, and I'm here now to break down the biggest numbers from the weekend. Our first number up today is 33. 33 little meters in the first event are all that separated Tea Gebbie from a perfect competition and winning all 8 events in her division. She is the reigning silver medalist at the games in the 50 to 54 division, and to show just how close she was to being perfect, it should be noted that the first event was 7 minutes each for max distance on the rower, bike erg, and ski erg. Across 21 minutes of erg work, 33 meters is painstakingly close, 11 meters per machine, which is basically 1 pull, 1 stroke, or 1 pedal each on each implement. Leslie Haycock was the woman that ultimately kept her from perfection, and the win was a nice touch given that Leslie celebrated her birthday 2 days later. But after that, it was all Gebbie as she rattled off 7 straight event wins, which is fitting given that the competition took place at CrossFit Mayhem, considering that at the games, Mayhem Freedom rattled off 7 straight event wins to close the competition as well. A little game-recognized game performance for Tea Gebbie if you ask me. Our next number for the week is 4. 4 out of the 7 men's division contested this past weekend saw the first place position change hands during the final 2-part event that finished off the competition. Jonathan Varela in the men's 40 to 44, Jason Grubb in the men's 45 to 49, Corey Daig in the men's 50 to 54, and Guy Cravata in the 55 to 59 division all stepped onto the floor for the final time Sunday with someone ahead of them on the leaderboard. Each was able to take advantage of the 200 total points available to them to make some magic happen and take home the overall title. The total programming slate across the 4 days consisted of either 8 or 9 scored tests depending on the division. So to have so much still up for grabs in a majority of the divisions made for a Sunday that was exciting for the fans and probably pretty stressful for the athletes. In 3 out of the 4 divisions, the eventual champion won at least one of the 2 parts in the finale, highlighting how the championship didn't just fall into their lap, but rather they went out and seized the moment to capture it. And finally, our last number this week is 74. That is the total point swing in the final events between Carol Mezen and South Africa's Angie Penney. Mezen and Penney were the top 2 finishers in the women's 45 to 49 division. And when the dust settled, just 8 points stood between them after a weekend-long battle that saw both Penney and Mezen atop the leaderboard with healthy leads at various points of the competition. Despite the result, it was actually Penney that led for 2/3 of the competition, before some wild finishes and that point swing in the final 2 days ultimately upended the podium race. So we're gonna hit depth on this number, and we're actually gonna pull one more athlete into the mix because the point swings and the placement adjustments on the leaderboard between these two and eventual 3rd place Tiffany Kempton kept me on the edge of my seat as I watched it unfold. Starting at the halfway point of the competition, things were flowing in a relatively predictable fashion. Penney was in first overall and had a 50-plus point lead on Mezen and a 100-point lead over Kempton. Penney then had her 2 lowest finishes of the weekend, including a 13th in Event 5 CJ, and by the time they took the floor for the final event Saturday, aptly titled Sudden Impact, both had started to chip away at the lead. That's when all heck broke loose because Penney had another 13th place finish, both Mezen and Kempton finished in the top 3, and Mezen suddenly took the overall lead for the first time, and Kempton cut the margin between her and Penney in half. Then on Sunday's 2-part finale, the chaos continued, and thanks to a 15th place finish in part 1 from Penney, she fell behind both Mezen and Kempton and was staring at a nearly insurmountable 48-point deficit for the lead. In part 2, it all flipped back the other way. Kempton was 15th, Mezen was 20th, and Penney finished 5th to make up a ton of ground, overtake second place from Kempton, and just barely miss overtaking the overall lead from Mezen by 8 points, which ended up equating to just 2 reps in that final workout. Now, because of the nature of the event, none of them knew exactly what was happening, and we were all scrambling with scenarios in our heads as we awaited the final leaderboard. In the finale alone, each athlete had a top 5 finish and a finish of 15th or lower, which speaks to the level of parity that existed in this division. But in each case, these women exemplified the spirit of the sport by continuing to press forward, leaving it all out on the competition floor, while also showcasing support for their fellow competitors when the dust settled. And I gotta say, it was a blast to watch. That's going to do it for this edition of Inside the Leaderboard, presented by Guaranteed Rate, the official mortgage company of the CrossFit Games. If you're looking for something to binge this holiday season, head on over to the CrossFit Games YouTube channel, where you can watch all 12 episodes of Miles to Madison. Personal recommendation, episode 10 is something special, so you should definitely check it out. And don't forget, registration for the 2023 Open is live now. Head on over to games.crossfit.com to sign up, throw your hat in the ring, and start training, because it will be here before you know it. Don't forget to sign up for the Open, and until next time, I will see you on the leaderboard.